All right, good morning, everybody. Hope you're all having yourselves a fantastic start to the day here. A few things. Obviously, fixed the clock or fixed a version of the clock here this morning. So it should be there down in the bottom right-hand corner. Slightly different format than last time using the trading view clock and doing an overlay of that. So should fix any issues going forward. So just let me know, right, if it looks weird or the screen doesn't look the way that you want or expect or anything along those lines. And I'll try to continue to fix that here over the next kind of couple days or so. Besides that, yeah, hopefully you guys are ready for what should hopefully be a productive trading day. Not much yesterday, right, for us to do. NQ ended up being pretty choppy all day long. ES, a little bit more of an impressive move. But again, right, with that volume standard, didn't have too much for me to kind of fall in love with there yesterday. For those of you who are Canadian like myself, hopefully you had yourself a fantastic Thanksgiving. Are feeling a little bit of a turkey coma, maybe refreshed, recharged, ready to go. And yeah, are motivated for what should hopefully be a successful, right, end to the quarter here as we start to kind of kick back up and really get towards sort of that election fever. So with that being said, right, yeah, let's start mapping things out here a little bit today. Let's figure out what we want to do here this morning. And let's put ourselves in a situation where it is easy to be successful. One of those rare Tuesday mornings without a rant. So we'll call it as is. Today we got a little bit of Fed speak here at 11:30. Nothing too crazy for us to deal with, right? So fine. We had Empire State Manufacturing Survey. Fine. Again, nothing too significant here. So not going to be too focused on the economic calendar. Really hoping, right, that I see an impressive volume standard show up here today. Like predicted yesterday, right, that volume was very, very low. Lowest we've seen since like early June or late June, right? So right around even July 3rd, so last bond holiday. So yeah, not exactly a huge amount of momentum or volume there yesterday. And we're going to hope, right, that we can establish a slightly better structure or standard here this morning. So yeah, what's the count here on ES, guys? Let's start there. And in the meantime, good morning, John, Steven, Bugs, Brian, Salstein, Daniel, Ruben, Dustin, Vitali, Jeff, Sook, Craig, Jeremy, and Jack. Hope you're all having yourselves a strong start to the AM here. And yeah, Jack, spot on, right? 1 for 3 here to the upside. Not exactly an impressive volume standard. And yeah, so what does that tell us? Does that mean we have setups in one direction, setups in both directions? How do we feel about this price action? What does that mean, guys? What does that mean, team? Yeah, theoretically both directions, right? And today, for sure, we're going to need to see a more impressive volume standard than what we saw there yesterday. Yesterday, like I said, lowest volume we've seen since like that 4th of July week. So pretty pathetic volume, right? So it should be easy for us to get more. If not, then we know, hey, we probably don't want anything to do with this price action. Where would we expect a fake out? Probably like 58.70 area, right? Something along those lines if we're going to find support here off of these lows. But then really still looking for that, breakout beyond to new all-time highs. We're targeting 59.20, 59.30, 40, 50. We go maybe up towards 5,600 or 6,000. Jeez. Good morning, Jen. Good morning, Howell. 6,000. That's crazy. All right, and then to the downside here, what would a bearish scenario look like here today? So if we're going to map out the bear case, morning SG, what would that look like? Not yet. We'll talk about NQ here in a second, J to the D. So just bear with me there for a little bit. But what would a bearish scenario look like here on ES? Let's finish this off and then map out NQ. So if bulls are going to be trapped, what does a bullish trap look like today? Good morning, Brett. Yeah, we want to see probably a fake out higher, right? A failed breakout type scenario above that daily high. So above 59.20, right, which is all-time highs. So ORB fake out above 59.20. And then a breakdown towards this morning's low, which is approximately 5,900. And then from there, right, we've got it down towards, we'll say, 58.50. Cool. Make sense? Yes, no, maybe. All right. Good morning, Fernando. All right, NQ. So yesterday, slightly decreasing volume. So green candle, decreasing volume, now a gap up. We're going to call this a 1.5 out of 3 in the 30 seconds that we've been looking at this thing for, right? It's been both green candle and a red candle. And it's going to be without volume. Excuse me. And so we're going to look, right, for a continuation narrative still towards that 21,000 barrier, right, on basically this wedge breakout that we haven't seen really much volume show up here yet, right, on this wedge pop. So we'd still like to see that happen here at some point. And if it can, then absolutely we're going to have a little bit of follow through up towards like that 21K area. Starting point here on an ORB breakout is going to be like 2,800. We should hit 2,700 with our just pre-market levels, or sorry, our opening range breakout levels. So not too much, right, for us to change there from that perspective. We've got it mapped out towards like 21.3. I'd be surprised if that happens. So 38275 versus 38312. So mine says decreasing by the skin of its teeth. By like 50,000 shares. Or 50,000 contracts. So I'm going to stick to mine, Brian, here. Yeah. All right. And then to the upside, or sorry, to the downside here, right? A rejection off of like 2,700 could then push us back down towards sort of those lows. I can refresh it here, but $385 versus, yeah, my volume hasn't changed. And then we're going to push it down, right? Not too much is changing from a plan perspective here. Maybe stop at 2,500 if we get that fake out, but for me, still seems probably more like a little bit of a bullish market, right, than a bearish market. But yeah, let's cross that bridge when we get to it. All right, crude. Pretty weak volume there yesterday. All right, so red candle, weak red candle, decreasing volume, gap down. Well, I'm going to stick to my volume here, guys. I'm only going to judge what I see, right? Maybe you have a slightly different data source. I'm not quite sure. But I'm going to stick to the volume profile I see. So 2 out of 3 here to the downside. Weak 2 out of 3 without volume. And probably want to see a fake out off of like 72, right, if you're bearish. And then a breakdown towards like 69.50. And then maybe down towards like 66.50. We have the contract roll happening here pretty soon. So this might become a little bit untradeable here for the rest of the week, but we'll still map this out for now. And then to the upside, right, a fake out off of like 70. And then a pop back up towards 72, call it 72. And then above 72, we got space up towards 75. So 72.50, 73, 73.50, 74. Cool. All right, Apple, pretty big gap up here, 3 for 3 to the upside. Double inside bar breakout. And a decent sized gap up, right? Gap up of approximately 1% here, 1.5% maybe. So you're looking for probably a little retest of that 233 or gap fill and go type scenario. And then a breakout over 235. So 235 breakout or gap fill and go. And then because it's a 3 for 3, right, it's going to be NA here to the downside. All right, Tesla, lower low, lower high, decreasing volume. So again, week 1 out of 3 here. And you're looking for a pop into that gap above 223.30. Above her, whoops. Cool, and then to the downside here, still 214 breakdown. All right, Microsoft. Green candle, increasing volume, gap up. Not a strong 3 for 3, but it is a 3 for 3 regardless. So 3 for 3 here to the upside. Non-outlier volume. Opening up in the implied upper third. No dip buy scenarios in this week's candle shape, so we're still looking for that breakout over 424. And no bear case here this morning. Okay, Amazon inside bar. And we're still looking for that 190 pop, right? Or a breakdown here under 186. Again, not too much changing on that inside bar. All right, AMD inside bar as well. So double inside bar here. We need to break down under 161.50. I'll call it 162. And then to the upside here above 172, and we're going to call it a double 2x inside bar, right? So back-to-back inside bars here. All right. NVIDIA, green candle, increasing volume, gap down. So it's a week 2 out of 3 here to the upside with volume. Within striking distance of all-time highs. So needs to get up and over 140. Right? And then to the downside here, under Okay, Meta, red candle, decreasing volume, gap up. So 1 for 3 here to the downside. And we're still going to look for that 600 breakout. And then to the downside here, we need to lose that trend line, which is a 582 breakdown. Okay, Netflix, red candle, increasing outlier volume, kind of in the middle of that channel, going into earnings on Thursday. That's an interesting one. Netflix loves the psychopath move on earnings. So I kind of don't really see much here, to be honest with you. So I'm going to go NA right until we really break out from this range. Okay, Google, 3 for 3 to the upside. Held above that Wednesday range, talking about that being stuck there for a little bit. So that's a good sign. Now maybe kind of like the trend line looks like that, approximately. So you want to see a 166.50 breakout. And we'll call this a weak 3 out of 3. And so NA here to the downside, but strong bullish momentum here to the upside. Well, relative. And then VIX, right, a 19.57. So not exactly a calm market here, right? If we do get some follow through, we still have a decently large implied range here. But we've seen kind of markets grind up higher when the VIX has been sub 20, or sorry, above 20. And that's a good sign, I would say, if you're a bull, right? So we're going to look for probably that continuation higher. Seems to be more or less the bias that we have across the board. But we want to see that volume step back up in a big way here this morning prior to us being aggressive. And yeah, that's really the plan, team. So in general, we've got consolidation or weak trending price action, which makes sense based on yesterday's momentum. And we're going to look for big volume to show back up here on our leading names and for the indexes really to drive higher. If they do, we should have ourselves a little bit of joy. If they don't, then we're going to be a little bit cautious, right? And we're not going to want to be super bearish until we see that consistent narrative across the board. So today's priority, right? Control the variables I can't control, trade my system. Don't kind of fall for like malarkey price action. And then kind of trust that the P&L will take care of itself when I control my variables, right? Been a little bit of a slower trading market for me in the last, say, week or so. Not the same enthusiasm we were getting in like August and September. So at some point, right, markets are going to pick back up and I'm going to get more action here again. But in the meantime, it's just about basically not self-sabotaging myself, taking my A-plus trades when they do show up, and then yeah, basically just setting myself up to be successful. Talk about this almost every single day, but the hardest thing that you can do as a trader is to trust your system regardless of your P&L, right? So when things are going well, you want to get to that point where you want to start breaking your rules because you feel like you're, can't make any mistakes and that you're bulletproof. When things are going bad, you want to break your rules to overcorrect and try to solve for like a next trade P&L type perspective. And we know that fundamentally that type of thinking, right, is flawed. So we know that we win by being consistent, by being methodical in our approach, and we're not going to allow outside noise or outside biases to change that structure. So it is the consistency in our approach that creates the long-term consistency in our outcome. And I will say, right, if you commit to that consistent process for 6 months, you're going to make a lot more money trading that way than if you commit to like that herky-jerky impulse decision-making process where you're living and dying with each trading result. So what we try to focus on here on a day-to-day basis, right, is basically just getting out of our own heads and becoming as systematic as we possibly can. There's no point doing our prep and structuring our trades and trusting our system and doing things along those lines if the second, right, something goes our way or something goes the opposite, we're willing to change that process. So for now, we still got a really consistent, profitable, and yeah, great technique. And so it's all about continuing to compound those positive decisions and allowing our process to dictate our outcomes, not our outcomes to change our process. And so that's the focus. If things end up being slow here this morning and they get choppy, then maybe we can look at that fake out entry technique that we talked about there a little bit last week and executed a couple times. But again, not too much evidence of that necessarily being the most successful way for us to trade, or very limited evidence of that here in the short term. Even on Friday, right, our last busy trading day, we went 3 for 4 using the aggressive entry technique primarily. So, you know, expecting, right, a good continuation of those stories, and hopefully we can get some nice follow through here and push to new all-time highs in the portfolio. Any questions here, team? Happy to answer them here quickly. Otherwise, going to step away, make myself a cup of coffee, but happy to answer a couple questions here if something's showing up. Good morning, Constantine. So Palantir, I will say, as like a bias here, Suresh, I am a long-term holder of Palantir. So you shorted, what, like on last Tuesday? So I mostly trade the index futures, J to the D. What I will look at is those stock names that we looked at here this morning to kind of get an understanding of what the internals look like. So the more consistent the internals are, the better generally my trading goes. To be honest with you, Suresh, I mean, you're 10% offside here. And this has been in squeeze mode since it got included into the S&P 500. For me, I'm not sure where this would have been a short here this morning or over the last couple days. I would still be more interested in looking for dip buys than to sell the rally. Excuse me. So I'm not sure where I see. You need a pretty aggressive sell-off here and some pretty big volume to show up for that to be the scenario. But again, I don't see a ton of enthusiasm there for a downside case. Now, realistically, you know, we're at relatively expanded Bollinger Bands. You're at the upper range. So for sure, could start getting in play here. But even from like a Bollinger Band perspective, you sold the breakout trade more than the mean reversion. So I would say I'd be a little bit cautious here this morning. Yeah. Good morning, Juan. Good morning, Dwayne and Tasha and Mike. Hope you all have yourselves a fantastic day here so far. Again, like I said, though, Suresh, my long-term bias here is like I'm a long-term holder of Palantir. So we'll maybe slightly conflicting narratives there. All right, guys, we'll be back in a few minutes. Just going to go make myself a quick cup of coffee, spend a few minutes here visualizing a successful trading day, and then we'll jump back on here as the day is starting. So we'll be back in a few minutes. All right, everybody. So, like I said, made a few changes here to the clock. Hopefully that looks fine and reasonable for everybody. Should be able to see it here, bottom right-hand corner. Should be slightly more reliable than what I was doing previously. So let me know if you have any issues there. I've got a cough for some reason here today, so sorry about that as well. But yeah, let me know if things look weird or, they don't sync up or match up or the stream looks strange this morning. And, yeah, guys, feel free to ask lots of questions, right? Fire away. The more you ask, generally the easier my job is as well. And so, yeah, very happy to try to be as transparent and honest and upfront here as I can be during today's trading session. Good morning, Ben. And yeah, for those of you who are DTR guests, welcome, say hello, introduce yourself. Please ask as many questions as you can. My job here is to help you, scale and improve your trading as quickly as possible and to show you kind of the brutally honest truth over what this game is like. It's not always going to be beautiful, but it's always going to be something that pushes us, teaches us, right, and forces us to improve. Talk about this a lot, but trading is fundamentally a very, very selfish game. That's not selfish because, we can take different trades and all this kind of stuff. You guys can make money trading my ideas, no problem. It's selfish because the market will highlight our own individual flaws to us, and those flaws are unique to us. So if we want to get better, we have to be willing to listen to the feedback that the market is giving us on a day-to-day basis, and then take that basic feedback to heart and make those changes. So, for me, one thing that I probably struggle with the most is that, fighting back against that greed, about that, or fighting against that sort of desire to want to be entertaining, to be entertained, and understanding that, hey, this is actually a job. I'm not at the tracks, I'm not playing poker, I'm not doing anything along those lines. And the more that I can kind of fight back and learn from those mistakes, generally the better my trading goes. And so that for me, right, it is unique to myself, but could be different, right, for each individual. So I would recommend, right, that you take the feedback that the market is giving you on a day-to-day basis and apply that, right, to heart, and hopefully use that information to become the best trader that you can be. From my end, Rusty, everything on my OBS looks fine. So not sure if it's the chop is related to anything else. Not a great open there on the 3-min. So we were fine on ES, but not great on NQ. So similar like we had yesterday. So maybe the tape on ES a little bit more tradable for us here this morning. I don't know. To me, it looks okay, Rusty. I'm looking at my own YouTube here. Seems fine. But yeah, if you have consistent issues, please let me know. So again, pretty cautious start to the morning here. Price at 911, so we got to be a little bit patient. But if this sets up to be that little fake out lower, that's a great scenario for us. And then today, right, no market data. I hear that, J to the D. So for myself, right, losing never feels good, right? Every loss feels personal to a certain extent. So what it is, in my opinion, is about gamifying losing small. So for each trade, it's about accepting the risks before you take the trade. So I like to, I use a technique called pyramiding, which means that my sizing, right? My max loss per trade is about $500. Sometimes I'll push it to like 600, but that's very, very rare. And what that means is that I'm trying to gamify losing. So when I lose, if I lose $500, okay, that's a bad result. If I lose $489, that's a kind of a win, right? Because I saved myself a little bit of cash. So it's about obsessing over that, in my opinion. That makes it easier, almost like teaching yourself to turn a loss into a positive expected value result. And for me, that is ultimately something that, was like kind of revolutionary when I embraced that mindset. So obviously defining my stop losses, setting my hard stops, right? Not giving myself an excuse to take bigger losses than I want, and then gamifying it. So buying deeper pullbacks, cutting losers when they don't feel like they're moving the right way, doing things along those lines kind of sets it up so that I can obsess over losing small. And when I obsess over losing small, then winning big kind of happens naturally. It's a pretty slow start here. Yeah, it's not a huge range. And not a huge amount of volume here yet. So being pretty cautious. One thing, should say this in the background here. I know people have talked to me or asked a lot about potential swing trading and like sharing more about what the personal portfolio is doing. Pretty much dollar cost average, right, into indexes. And one thing that I've been playing around with here a little bit is buying names that get included into the S&P 500. So when something gets added here into the S&P, buy that for the next, say, quarter or so, and basically see all the index tracking funds buy it up and improve my position sizing. In the background here, it's kind of like a little project. I'm doing a bit of a back test of the 100 most recent names that have been added to the S&P and what that does for their performance. So far, the 1 month, 3 month, and 6 month performance. So far, there's been very promising results there. And so that might be something that I introduce a little bit more vocally here in the future. But yeah, that's essentially what my long-term portfolio strategy is in the short term. Dollar cost average into SPY and QQQ, and then individual names that get added into the index. And then obviously I have a few underlying holding positions and kind of some core names, but nothing too crazy. It's a pretty slow start here so far. Everything looked fine, team, from the stream perspective. Like, you guys can all see the clock. You can all see charts the way you want. Yeah, I mean, for sure, Jen. The more tools I add to my trading, the more I'm happy to share that with everyone, of course. It's kind of why I mentioned it out loud. Next time I have a couple days off here where I'm not needing to rebuild some of that mental capital, I'll publish those results and share those with the team. Really, honestly, like for me, I'm an open book here, right? So I'm not really hiding anything from you guys or anything along those lines. It'd be more work to do that, truth be told. So yeah, anything I do and anything that I feel like gives me an edge, I'll very happily always share with you all. So pretty tight ranges and pretty limited volume. So really only on the 3-min do we have that increasing standard. And I'm not sure if it would be like a course. It would probably be just like once a month or every time the index does some rebalancing, share the list of names that are, getting added in, right? That meet the criteria. And then, talking about basically how to trade those. But for those longer term positions, I mean, your entry timing is a little bit irrelevant. More so than it is when you're day trading, right? You can be wrong a couple days, even a week, right, before it runs, and you're going to be okay if you have a long enough kind of bias. Short term, right, when I'm day trading, it's harder, right, to stomach being wrong early because our stop losses are so tight. So for sure, we'll share that information as I build it and as it comes together. But yeah, that's sort of just what's been kind of going on here in the background. Again, pretty slow start here. No 10 a.m. data for us to worry about today, so we have a slightly more open market. But that doesn't seem to be leading to too much here early. Apple flying higher. So bad candle shape, right, for a breakdown here. So no interest in that. Crude not moving. Crude switches over to the December contract here on Friday. So far, pretty baby range. So ES to the downside, starting to maybe set up here a little bit. Would like to see it close under this 908 area. Pretty much everything bar like Apple is red here so far. Let's see. Oh, excuse me. Not sure if it's a good sign here, but I had a dream last night that I had drinks with Janet Yellen. So I'm not sure what that means. For those of you who are smarter than me, maybe you've got some information. Okay, so an okay candle, but not a good enough volume standard there. I don't know, I woke up in a fever dream before it ever escalated any further. Not quite. Maybe it's only the older women in Montreal are conservative. All the young ones are communists. Yeah, so I use what are called volume candles. At least short term, I've been using them a little bit. They're the exact same as normal candles, except high volume ones are going to be a little bit chunky, whereas low volume candles are going to be not so chunky. So all it does is it's like a slight visual aid. Just makes high volume bars really stand out. When I'm trading momentum, it's nice to be able to see those patterns. Oh, excuse me. So again, not great volume here. It's technically increasing, but it's not outlier. So I'm gonna be pretty cautious here still. Get a little fake out lower and then break out higher would maybe be the easier scenario. Yeah, so it's just in the top here, where you can choose, like, if you want to go bars, candles, hollow candles, or volume candles. It's just volume candles there at the top. Again, it doesn't tell us anything different or new. You know, if we're still doing that volume analysis, we're still looking at those volume bars. It gives us that same amount of information. It's just a slightly different visual cue. That's really all it is. So, you know, you could change the colors of your candles, right? If you want to see patterns, maybe a little bit different. I've heard of some people like inverting their charts, things along those lines. But for me, this is just a little bit of a routine buster, if you want to call it that. Okay, we're going to get increasing volume here. Close of its outlier. Won't be. So again, no dice. Crew, or sorry, NQ. A little bit more of like a two-way tape. But still not fantastic volume here. It's like early. Yeah, I'm yawning so much today. The early doors of a bit of a wedge. Not a great range here yet on CL. Good little volume on that potential fake out. But still got some work to do. Well, pretty aggressive breakout here so far this morning, yeah. Hey, Elevating with Egypt, welcome back. Hey, you have to subscribe to the channel to comment. It helps us avoid the OnlyFans and porn bots that love to absolutely litter YouTube's comment section. But good morning. Yeah, for me as well. NQ might struggle a little bit here in the next week or so because it's got a lot of names trying to go earnings here, right? So we got Tesla earnings almost a week from today. Microsoft a little bit later, but Netflix is going to kick it off here, right, in a couple days. So I think we might be a little bit stuck until we get a clearer resolution there. At least that's my short-term thesis. It's been lagging ES pretty well. So, you know, the catch-up trade should be a big one once it starts to kick off. But in the meantime, I think it's going to try to frustrate as many people as possible before it actually makes its real move. Yeah, we'll see how earnings go and how they absorb the news, right? But yeah, absolutely could be the case. All right, so ES, if we can get this to go on volume, right, we're going to shape up pretty nicely here. Not a ton of range still, right, on the index level. like 3.75 points right on ES. Not exactly giving us a massive profit target. You know, 8 points, 7.5 points. I feel like every 6 months or so, I have a crisis of faith, and just like this morning before the stream started, I was on my laptop looking at. Do you guys know the website Idealista? But it's like basically like Zillow, European Zillow, like a cheap European Zillow. And you can look at houses in the Alps, and every now and then I get the lure to go buy, you know, a house in the Italian Alps for like 60,000 euros, and just go be a sheep farmer, especially when things are this slow. Just go drink all the wine, eat all the pasta. It would be a nice life. Again, could be another retest here of this trend line low. Well, let's see. Still not really much of a range yet. We're pretty range bound so far. I mean, crude's probably the most tradable here. 958. We love a little crude reversal. It's good volume. We'll fake out lower. So I'd say crude's giving me the best opportunity. So we'll start to watch this. Yes, possibly breaking down here now as well. A little wedge breakdown. Okay, so I'm going to focus on ES here for now. We don't have a ton of space here, right? So the risk-reward ratios that we need to get relatively aggressive. We're going to have a 2-point stop loss. So stop loss 910.75. And so at an entry price of 908.75, right? You can buy 4 contracts, maybe even 5. Right, and still get your sizing. If it's going to break down here with the aggressive entry technique, it's going to be less appealing. Crude didn't close as a strong enough candle, so I'll avoid that for now. If we play it on the 5, maybe we have a slightly better scenario. Okay, so let's watch here closely. We're looking for an aggressive rejection inside this range. So far, it hasn't happened. Keeps getting stuffed at the trend line. That's a good sign. Again, right, another rejection. Let's keep watching here. Well, inside bar doesn't kill this. But no immediate reason to jump in short here yet. Okay, so that's decreasing volume. So again, still no reason to jump in here yet. If we're not going to get that correct reaction, we can switch this to the 5-min. And play it that way, right? Stop loss would then be a little bit higher, 913.75, which would give us a bit more space. So far, I would say no go yet on this. This might be a fake out entry scenario as well, right? Where you look for a fake out above your stop loss high, right? And then break down back under on a hold. Or right on the 5-min, we play it something like this. Crude is jumping, but not on a nice enough profile here for me to trade. Question here now would be, does it make sense to have your stop loss 1375, or does high of day make a little bit more sense, right? If it's just an extra point away or tick away, even 2 ticks, might make more sense to do that. Now that would mean smaller position sizing, right? So stop loss would have to be then 914.25. And then this could be that fake out scenario we talked about as well. So again, we have a setup here, but no reason to be super aggressive yet. Oh. I'd love to just be like one and done here today. One nice trade. No having to fight back for anything. The reason we haven't jumped in here yet, right, is we haven't seen that elevator down. We've just basically seen stairs in both directions. So limited reasons to be aggressive yet. Like you would have been stopped out here, right, and then back under your entry price or testing your entry price. You know, it doesn't feel great. So far we've done a good job here being relatively cautious and patient. Just a question of can we get good cooperation here to justify taking on some risk. So could end up as that as well, right? A 911.50. So again, 2-point stop loss allows you to go pretty aggressive with your sizing. Well, let's see. A little bit, yeah. It's a little bit choppy here so far. We've just avoided mistakes to start the day off here. So not really too bitter or feel bad about that yet. Let's see how this candle closes. Again, if I don't get a trade, no worries, right? Market doesn't owe me a win, doesn't owe me a loss, just owes me the opportunity to sit and watch. And if price action behaves without following my rules, then I'm certainly not going to make that personal either. I've said this before, I'll say it again, but my second most profitable position, right, is sitting on cash. So we'll see. This seems to be setting up as that possible fake out technique. So entry would have to be above 950. And stop loss of 911.50. Never forget. So again, you could buy 5 contracts there, risking 50 bucks a contract. Yeah, exactly, right? That's spot on. Exactly it. So let's see if we can get an entry here. So here's our confirmation candle, right? Here's our failed bullish recovery. Here's our indication that bears are back in control. So now we just want to get a risk reward entry that's justifiable. With the size of today's range, that makes it a little bit harder for us to do, right? So if we don't get it, we don't get it, is what it is. Man, is it cold. So, okay, no entry here for now. Maybe I could do the aggressive technique. I'm looking for 6 points, right? So it's not a monster move by any means. VIX not really moving either. 19 spot 5.8. It was 19 spot 5.4 at open. Okay, let's see here. So stop loss now 907.50. An entry price 905.75 or higher. So again, this would be a 5 contract play. Good rejection. So starting to watch here a little bit. So this for me is just a risk reward calculation. So I know that anywhere, if I get an entry here, right, I'm getting 6 points of return for 2 points of risk. So I'm getting a 3-to-1 risk reward. So I use it to visualize my risk reward ratios. Right, I want to be targeting like 3-to-1. Yeah, it's just for risk rewards. Pretty good little recovery there. Again, if I can get an entry, let's see. It tested. It'll be close. A little step-by-step pullback. We didn't cross the spread there, so couldn't get a fill. So Sony needs to pull back about 1.5 points. I'm not sure if it's going to do it. Good volume on this candle. Yeah, probably a little bit too far away from my entry zone here now. Where's that? Do I have it on the? Do I have it set up on the 10? Kind of. Nice, good job. Yeah, NQ's given some decent follow through here to the downside. Sub 600 now. It's pretty decent. All right, so let's watch again here. $581. Okay, so still need to see a pullback into 905.75 or greater. Nice work, Mike. You're in great shape. Yeah, I feel like I just missed it. So let's see. Still within striking distance here. Come on. Point away. Come on. And if I jump in, right, at that 905.75, we're risking about $437. So that's 5 contracts. So let's watch here carefully. Come on. Oof, one tick away. All right, guys, so I am in 5905.75. Let's see if I can get some almost immediate follow through. Come on. Nice work, Jen. Great win. Don't like these little retests. It's taking longer than I want. Come on, break down here. Don't do it. Come on. little bit of a mixed bag feeling about how this has behaved since entry. I feel like that 900 is acting a little bit too much like support. Taking more work than it should. So you can blast through some lower lows here and give me some enthusiasm, but I'm not feeling this has been the exact perfect trade here. Let's see, that's 300. 375, come on. Okay, 437, keep going. There's 5. I'd like to see it break down, make lower lows with some aggression. For me, it's either close the position or let it run. That's sort of the fight here. I wouldn't push my stop loss to break even at this point. It's either close it or let it run. So for now, being still a little bit stubborn with it. And this is basically my 1R level. Come on. Nice work, Nicholas. Not sure if I see that yet. Just fighting for it here. Come on. Well, I'm just trying to I'm trying to be stubborn here, right? I'm not necessarily pleading with the chart. I'm pleading with myself to trust my plan. Come on, break down. Ah, it's all good, Jay. Come on, give me one more little flush lower here. That's not it. All right, guys, I'm closing this. I'm out. At 904.50 was my exit price. So plus 187.50. Just didn't quite give me the reaction I wanted. So what I'm going to do here, right, is reset. If it breaks down on some volume under this 900, then I've got some room, right, towards like 58, 90, right, something along those lines. But if it's just going to keep fighting around this level, I would rather, basically just preserve mental capital, right? Didn't quite give me the exact reaction that I wanted. You know, it's been how long since an entry, right? 8 minutes since entry. Of course, now it breaks down. But if it's not going to behave or follow my path here early, then my entry timing is not right. And if my entry timing isn't right, what else am I wrong about here on this trade? So I'd rather just reset, right? Let this thing break down and hold under 900. And then no worries, right? Take another shot, not the end of the world. So 1.5, fine. Not the, yeah, that's the way she goes. It's not personal. Market doesn't care. Right? And I don't have any FOMO about missing this breakdown because all I did was follow my plan, right? So if it's not going to move in my direction here when I expect it to, then kind of getting this breakdown and getting that follow through is an element of luck, not an element of skill. Nah, it's got nothing to do with that, right? If it now breaks down here again, like it just has, now I know I'm targeting a move towards 58.90, and I can look to replay this, right, and jump back in and get back into my thesis. But I'm not going to allow price action to develop an emotional attachment for me, because once I start trading with that emotional bias, I'm no longer thinking like a rational human being. I'm thinking with my P&L. And then once that's the case, right, if it pulls back and gets back to my entry price, all of a sudden I'm going to feel like shit, or I'm going to feel really bad about my trading. So instead, take the small win, reset, recharge your mental capital, right? And okay, you've got another trade here setting up with 2 points of risk again. So I don't see how anything I did there was wrong or bad. I wanted it to break down when it did. Or 5 minutes before it did. So I'm not going to allow that to feel personal now because I made a decision to follow my rules. I'm not going to punish myself for following my rules. So now we can reset here. And see if this thing can give me elevator down and then tick by tick pullback into 896.50. So there we go. That was at 896.50. So I'm back in here, right? 5 contracts. And that's much better, right? Green right away. No emotional attachment, right? So awesome, right? That's 500 bucks. Let's see if this thing can keep breaking down. It's not that a win is a win. It's that I followed my plan. I followed my rules. If my trade is strong, I should be green almost right away. If I'm not green right away, what else am I wrong about? Right? So it's about not making your P&L personal. It's about trusting your system and your technique, not obsessing over your P&L statement. So that's 625, 700, 750, right? We're in great shape here. It's good volume, right? So this thing should keep breaking down. Maybe give me a chance to pyramid in. All right, so now stop loss is going to be 94.75. That's 875, 812. Come on. Stop loss is now 94.75. There's $1,000. Right, so all we did, guys, was just recharge our mental capital, give ourselves to play this when it behaved the right way. We didn't make it personal. That's a $1,500 day, right? Why? Because we didn't make it personal. You recharge, you reset that mental capital stores, you put yourself in a situation to follow your blueprint, and it's a great day. We cannot torture ourselves for making money when we follow our rules, right? It's an unfair expectation to then put ourselves. So now look, that almost a 2K day. Beautiful. Even more, right? So we're in great shape here, team. So this idea that every trade's going to be a monster is really incorrect. It's a bad way of looking at things. We caught a great trade, right? We're up 12 points. 12 points on 5 contracts with $500 worth of risk. Like, there's worse things in life. Nice work, Juan. So we gotta stop with this. Judging your trading based on your P&L. It's a very expensive way to live and die as a trader. Those were 2 great decisions, 2 excellent results. It's gonna be a $2,000 day. Right? So it's not about judging your trading on a trade by trade basis based on your P&L statement. That is a crazy way to live. So it's always, is price action behaving the way that I expect? No, yes, maybe. If it isn't, and I'm green, I should take it before it stops behaving the way that I want, right? So we make it unpersonal by taking our wins when they show up. So that's 2K. right, on this position. Let's see if it keeps getting some further breakdown here towards 58.80. And now I'm slowly starting to look for opportunities to possibly get out of this trade and lock in a great day. Right? It is obsessing over your execution that makes you money. Well, we do those levels pre-market, Matt, right? So we do our prep in the mornings, and then we just target 10 points along the way, basically in between our major key levels. So next big flush lower, I'm going to look to get out of this position. Might have just missed it. Let's see if it can give me the look here again. Like an 82, 83 would be great. Come on. All right, boom. I am out. Average fill price 581. Sorry, 582.25. All out. Huge win, guys. Huge win. Right? 3,500 bucks. Right? So that's an incredible day. Nice work, Jeff. Congratulations. So, boom. Right? So that's $3,700 on the day. And if a trade is strong, it's going to give you multiple chances to enter. We followed our plan. We followed our rules. We didn't go P&L hunting. We went setup hunting. And we closed our trade as our P&L was increasing. You're getting another chance here, I think, at that 82, 83 retest. But a great day, team. Great day. There's that 82.25. Kind of got punished on my market order there, but that's okay. Let's go, though. Let's go. Feeling good, team? And again, right, if this thing continues to break down on volume under this 80 area, then we're in great shape. Did I say Monday, Jared? I might have said Monday. If we break down under this 80 on volume, then I can reset, right, and look for a breakdown here towards 58.70. So again, right, I don't care. Don't care that this thing is now leaving me some money on the table, right? I'm not trying to catch every top, not trying to catch every bottom. I'm trying to play my system. I'm trying to take my money where I can get it. And I'm putting myself in situations where it's easy to be green, right? Since our breakdown, we've only seen a decreasing volume standard. So it's not to say that this thing can't keep breaking down, but if you're a momentum trader, this is showing me a lack of momentum here. So we're going to start to see bigger bounces and bigger swings here off of these lows. So I'm happy to take my trade, right? Be relatively stress-free. A great trading day. Okay, first trade, right? Wasn't green right away. Didn't feel perfect. So cut it, move on, reset. Keep your mental capital so that when your next setup comes up, right? You can take advantage of that opportunity. But if we attach our self-worth, right, to our P&L outcome on that first trade, and then it goes the way that we expect, then we miss, right, this opportunity. And instead of being up, 3,700 bucks on the day, you're like, oh my gosh, why did I torture myself? Why am I such an idiot? Why did I close? Why did I do this? Why did I do that? And all of a sudden, right, you're punishing yourself for following your rules. And once you get addicted to doing that, then surviving, right, those opportunities or trusting yourself, it's not good enough. So for me, right, I want to see increasing outlier volume as a sign of increasing momentum, right? So if my entry here was 96.50 or something like that, every candle post entry to when I closed my trade off, bar this one here, right, was on decreasing volume, on less and less volume. So I want to see these candles to be strong shapes and strong volume profiles. We got decreasing volume profiles and weak candle shapes, right? So it's decreasing momentum based off of that information. And look, now 886. So if we would have been hunting out, holding, right, for a bigger win, we're probably feeling crappy now about giving back some profits, right? All this kind of stuff. Instead of being okay, closing our position as our P&L is increasing. And, 3,700 bucks across 5 accounts. It's a good day, right? It's a good day. And why was it a good day, right? We trusted our system, we followed our rules, and we put ourselves in a situation where we could reset, right, from a mental capital perspective so that we could actually catch the move of the day. I'm a big believer that mistakes compound. So if, your entry timing is wrong and you're dealing with a lot of strain before it breaks down, then you're not holding out for max P&L, right? You're not actually closing your trade. You're going to make a mistake. Maybe you close it at that 90. Maybe you close it at this pullback here now, right? Whatever it might be. But you end up trading suboptimally because you tend to compound mistakes when you're in a trade instead of surviving them, right? So if my entry timing isn't perfect, it's not personal. It just means that my thesis was a little bit off or my timing was off. So I'll take my win, I'll reset, and if my idea is correct, I'll get another opportunity to enter and I'll be able to make that same amount of money, right? And that's exactly what I did here. So I probably missed out on, I don't know, 800 bucks, maybe 900 bucks by protecting my mental capital. But the difference in those entries, right, means that I was able to hold out for realistically a much larger move. So it was a great day. No complaints. 2 for 2. Nice and green. I got nothing bad to say here this morning. So you feeling good, team? So great day. Yeah, I do. It's for premium members here only. So if you talk to your rep, I'm not sure who you're chatting to, but if you talk to your rep, they'll get you involved here. At this point, Samuel, I'm not really further interested in any downside moves. Caught a pretty nice little breakdown here this morning. Up, 15K, something like that, right? A little bit more than that on the day. So I don't see too much more value in trying to catch a further drop here to the downside. Also, historically, this time of day, we're 10:47 a.m. So it's a little bit later on in the morning. So when it's a little bit later on in the morning, you tend to not get a tremendous amount to follow through. Really nice work, Karat. Fantastic risk management. And glad you're nicely green. Proud of you. That's really, really well done. Means you're taking the risk management stuff we focus on a day-to-day basis to heart. And that, for me, puts a huge smile on my face. So, very proud of you. That's really, really well done. So yeah, any questions here, team? Any questions? I'm not going to place any further trades here on the day. Very happy with how that session went. Nope, I don't. Everything you see on my chart is exactly what I have used on a day-to-day basis. I don't use anything else. Sounds good, Howell. Enjoy the rest of your day, man. Congratulations. I only trade the morning. Yeah, pyramid is just adding to my position as it goes green when I get increasing volume, and it's about always having my average price to be above my stop loss location so that it's risk free. Fuck's sake. Beautiful. So no complaints here, team. Fantastic trading day. And look at where ES is now back up, right? 891. So we did a really good job closing it off there in that, low 80s area. Okay, maybe I had a little bit more further follow through towards 77, 75. But I'm not trying to bottom ticket, right? I'm trying to always close my position as my P&L is increasing. And that was a great example of that here today. And that should be new all-time highs in the portfolio, right? So good little bounce back here. Good recovery day, right? To be able to reclaim back towards all-time highs. Cannot complain about that. That for me was a fantastic result. And boom, right? That's how easy it goes. Right? That's how easy it goes to be, new or to recover from drawdown, right? When you're controlling those variables. Well done, Kenneth. Congratulations. Awesome day, man. So any questions here, team? Any questions? Nice work, Michael. Congratulations. Nice work, Ben. Love it, team. Love to see the positive results for everyone. Yeah, we did a good job avoiding crude, focused on the best setup here of the day by the looks of it. Maybe NQ, maybe a bit more follow through. But yeah, today was a great day. No complaints. Yeah, Joe, no complaints there at all. If every Tuesday was like this, that would be awesome. No trades yesterday. Good day here today. I don't look at fair value gaps. I don't care about those. Similar to what I said basically in the moment, right? So the idea here was to target a move down towards, once you break down from 58.90 to target a move towards 58.80. And then it's basically the goal was to close on that next aggressive flush, right? If I'm looking at this on the 3-minute time frame and I'm seeing a decreasing volume standard post basically entry protection mode, then I'm just going to close it on that next flush through, because that flush could essentially behave like a capitulation. So I'll close it there at that next pop lower, basically take it off as a market order and make sure I'm locking in a nice green day as my P&L is increasing. So this 80 area, right, becomes then my profit target zone. Again, I don't look at anything else on my chart besides what you see here. So I'm a price action trader. I don't really give a crap about ICT concepts or any of the stuff that he teaches. So it's just these areas, right? And I'm basically targeting previous day's highs, previous day's lows, and filling in the gap 10 points along the way on ES, 100 points along the way on NQ, and just using those as my reference points. Any other questions here, team? Any other questions? So final call for questions here. Final call for questions. It's this green box and these red lines, right? So if my strategy here is to basically trade this, it helps me visualize this graphic. When you sign up and join full time, Jay, you'll get access to all these things. Yeah, no worries. Hope you all had yourself a great day. All right, team, final call here. Final call. Sure, fire away. Look, for me, it was, if I'm green on the trade, I should be green right away. If it doesn't give me the reaction that I want, then I shouldn't expect that I'm going to get lucky and get follow through, right? So my objective always is to have a plan on how I expect strong price action to behave once I'm in a position. If it doesn't give me that strong reaction, then I'm not going to develop an emotional attachment to that position and hold on. So it's not to say that maybe your habit is bad. I would suggest that you maybe just need to think about it a little bit more over what you want price to behave like, or how you want price to behave like once you enter a trade. If it doesn't behave that way, then get out, right? And reset and look for another opportunity. If it behaves the way that you want, awesome, look for continuation and, you know, hold on for your winners. But for me, right, I was basically getting up 1 point, up 2 points, up 1.5 points for 8 minutes. And so if I'm in a strong breakdown trade with momentum and it's kind of just stagnating in place for 8 minutes, that for me isn't a strong reaction to my thesis. So based on the plan I had, I was willing to close that trade. If you didn't have a plan on how you want price action to behave once you enter, then maybe that's the habit you need to reinforce. But that would be the emphasis, right? It's always processes, not P&Ls. Where do you see F&G, Joe? Oh, in my... So this is my P&L per account. This is my total P&L for all my accounts combined in my spreadsheet. So today, $3,700 per account. I have 5 total live accounts. So I have a multitude, right? So I trade during prop firms because the leverage you get with futures is incredible. I also have a family fund that I use that is self-funded. So it's multiple. The family fund I manage for my dad, my sisters, and myself. And the prop firms I use for income, that I use for growth. All right, any other questions? Sounds good, Jay. Have yourself a great day, man. All right, final call here. Final call. All right, team. Well, same deal like always, right? If you have any questions, hit me up outside of market hours, and I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as I can. But happy new all-time highs days in portfolios, right? Drawdown recovery day. And really, really well done here, everybody. Proud of you all for managing your risk like adults, for being responsible traders, and for putting yourselves in situations where it's easy to be green. So congratulations. Hopefully we can keep building off of this progress here for the remainder of the week, and we can look to take advantage of what has been a nice bout of volatility here today. So same deal like always. Looking forward to catching up with a few of you here in our one-on-ones later this afternoon. But let's have ourselves a great day. Keep compounding this success here later this week. And yeah, see you all tomorrow. So have yourselves a great one, and we'll catch you up then. Peace.